Luke chapter 2, we're going to go back to Luke chapter 2. Hold on, before you turn there, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to play a little game this morning, guys against the girls, okay? So men versus ladies. And what we're going to do, how many of you have ever done the old-fashioned sword drill, Bible drill? Where you attention jar your swords, raise them up, don't cut the person next to you, a razor sharp sword you got in your hand. And I'm going to give you the Bible reference, and you'll repeat it after me when I say charge. The first one to find it, stand, and I'll call on you, and then you can read it for us. Okay, so we're going to play a little game this morning, and we're going to look at a few different passages. We're just going to have a fun time, but it's got to be participating if it's going to be fun. It's no fun if I'm doing all the talking, all right? So attention, draw your swords. Our first verse is Luke chapter 2, verse 10. Everybody get your sword up, or at least keep it closed until I say charge. So repeat after me, Luke 2:10. Now when I say charge, you're going to look for it. First one to find it, raise your hand or stand, okay? Luke 2:10, charge. First one to find it. Oh, Miss Linda.
And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people.
All right, the ladies have 1 point. So who wants to be our scorekeeper? Someone have a pen? You have to have a pen to be a scorekeeper. And you should have a piece of paper because we don't encourage writing on our hands. Okay, Sister Elaine, she's got the pen. So 1 point for the ladies. Okay, we're going to do another verse real quickly. So in a matter of review, last week we looked at how the angels brought the good tidings to the shepherds. Thank you. To the shepherds. And they were in Bethlehem. We were just hearing about Bethlehem. And notice the announcement here in verse 10, Luke chapter 2, I bring you good tidings, good news of great joy, which shall be to all people. If you're to look that word good tidings up, I had a friend, he sent me a message, and he's a Bible translator in Mexico with the down in the Oaxaca area of southern Mexico, and they're working with one of the native tribes there. And he said this is the first time the word evangelism is found in the New Testament during Christ's life. So here in Luke chapter 2, Jesus is about to be born, technically, and the word good tidings comes from evangelize. We get the word evangelize, to herald forth good news. We say gospel. Gospel is good news that is broadcasted. Someone has said it's not good news. The gospel is only good news if it gets to the people on time. Do you realize there's a lot of people in our world who have heard, maybe they've heard about the Bible, they've heard about Christians, but they've never heard an explained story of the gospel, of who Jesus is, why he came to earth, why he came to give his life. Listen, it's so easy nowadays for people to be able to hear. That's what we're trying to do on Sunday mornings, going through the life of Christ. You could just tell a neighbor or a friend, say, hey, have you ever heard the story of the gospel of why Jesus came for us? If you have a hard time explaining it all, just say, here, go to our church's website. That's very simple, isn't it? Give them a gospel tract. We've got gospel literature, Bibles all over these buildings. Spread the good news. Evangelize. Okay, you ready for another one? Okay, here we go. Of course, we know in verse 17, that the shepherds, after they did go see Jesus, they made known abroad. So they were evangelizing. They were declaring the good news that the angels gave to them. Okay, attention, draw your swords. Come on, guys. We're down 1-0. You don't want to get a 2-0 hole. That's hard to rebound. Once the girls think that they can beat us, there's no stopping them. Okay, are you ready? 2 Kings. Okay, that's Old Testament. Okay, you're not allowed to be looking it up yet. Not until I say charge. We won't call out names here. 2 Kings chapter 7, verse 9. 2 Kings chapter 7, verse 9. Charge. Now you can go, Pastor. You can go. No, you can open the word. Oh, we have a lady, Miss Linda, over here. Go ahead. You can read it for us. Yes, all of verse 9.
Then they said to one another, We are not doing what is duties, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore come, let us go and tell the king's household.
Okay, thank you for reading. This is a great story. Elisha, if you go back to verse 1, you find that the people in Samaria, that was the headquarters for Israel. This is after Israel was broken into two. So you have the Judah on the southern kingdom, Israel in the northern kingdom. Samaria was the capital. That's where wicked King Ahab ruled, right? But God had allowed their enemies, the Syrians, to come down and to bring judgment. At this time, they have besieged the city. The people are starving, and it's awful what starvation drives people to do. But even still, God would still show them mercy. And in verse number 1, Elisha says, "Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria." Basically, prices for everything went through the roof because it was scarce, right? So inflation, over the top. And the prophet says, guess what? Tomorrow, things are going to be back at their normal prices. And the man standing there said, yeah, right. Look what he says. "A Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be?" He's like, yeah, God's going to have to drop out food just like he did with manna from heaven, right? He says, this is impossible. I hope you don't have a little God. I hope your view of God is not little, because you're not going to trust him. You'll doubt him. And here this man is full of unbelief, and Elisha responds with it, and he said, "Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof." And you can see exactly what happened if you skip down and read the end of the story. Go down to verse 19. Verse 18, 19, and 20. The man sees it, and the people are so excited, I think they trample him under. He does not get to partake. He dies that day. But what miraculous happened? It's very interesting because there's some lepers outside the walls, and they're thinking, oh, what should we do? We're starving also. The people are starving. Now we see the camps of the enemies all around the walls. Maybe they'll show us some mercy. But if we don't do anything, just sit here, we're going to die. So they say in verse 3, "Why sit we here until we die?" Verse 4, "If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also." So what's their third option? Go to the enemy camp, see if they'll share some food. "Now therefore come and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die." Hey, we're going to die either way anyways of starvation. Let's go. So they go to the camps of the Assyrians, and at the time God had miraculously made them to hear noise of chariots and of horses, the noise of a great host. And they think, oh, surely the Israelites have hired all the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. So God makes them hear these noises, and out of fear, they just leave everything they have and take off running. This is the scene that the lepers come upon. The tents are there, food. It's even better. It gets better. It's like Christmas morning. Verse 7, "Therefore they arose and fled in the twilight." So they all left. And when the lepers arrived, look at verse 8. "And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent and did eat and drink and carried thence silver and gold and raiment and went and hid it, and came again and entered into another tent and carried thence also and went and hid it." They're like, wow, look at all this food, the gold, the silver. Let's put it away. It's all mine. I'm putting it in my bank. They're hoarding. You've heard of these hoarders, right? Can't even walk through their house because stuff is everywhere. And all they think they need is just a little more, just a little more. And they're hiding, and then they stop and they think about, what am I doing? I'm storing away all this stuff. We are benefiting, but our own people inside the walls are starving. And it's awful what they were having to eat. They come to their senses. We come to verse 9, 2 Kings 7:9. Then they said one to another, we do not well. Oh, what do you mean you're not doing well? You are enjoying the blessings of God. Did not God bless them? Did not God chase away the Syrian army? Absolutely. Did not God allow them to think those thoughts? Hey, we're starving. Let's go. It's worth risking it. We have nothing to lose. Let's go to the camp and see what's there. And they found everything was available. Was it just for them? Well, they had enough of a conscience. They said, we do not well. This day is a what? A day of good tidings. Good news. For who? For whom? Just them? Well, it is good news for them, but it's good news for others. I mean, this is a beautifully paralleled passage, if you think about it, to what the shepherds received when they received the news of Jesus coming to be born. And the angel said this would be good news for all people. The news was for all people. Think about it. The wise men, we were learning Sunday morning about the wise men coming from afar. They were a different people than the Jews. They were not Romans either. They were from another land, probably India or Iran, Iraq, over in that area. Jesus is for everybody. We can't keep him to ourselves. And the lepers realize, this is not good. We're just sitting here and we're just taking more and more and hiding it away. Oh, we'll talk to you afterward. And we hold our peace. They said, we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. We can't just sit on this good news. That's what they're saying. They realize they are responsible. We were talking last week about the response of Christ's birth. And the shepherds, they did not sit on the good news and say, we'll check it out in the morning light. No, we must go and see this young child now. And that's how these lepers were responding. Some mischief will come upon us. Now, therefore, come that we may go and tell the king's household. So they go to the king's household, bring the good news. Remember, these are dying men, lepers. They were the outcasts, literally outcasts. They had to live outside the walls of the people so the others wouldn't catch their disease. The shepherds, think about it. And Jesus said the shepherds, they were outcasts to a lot of people. They were dirty. They were low caste, if you will. But yet they're the ones who get to go and tell. Listen, it doesn't matter what background you come from. You have the authority of Jesus Christ to go and tell others about him. Sometimes people say, what right do you have to come and tell me that I need to believe in Jesus? It's not me, but I come as an ambassador of the King of Kings. And he loves you so much that he doesn't want you to die and receive his judgment. He cares for all men. Therefore, we must go and tell. Today, we get to go and share some good news. I guarantee you, we're going to meet people that are lonely. You know, think about it. Why did Jesus come? We know he came to save the world. Did you know there's a prophecy about that? Attention, draw your swords. You ready? I'm going to do 2 more verses, and then we'll close it up. Isaiah 61:1. Isaiah 61:1. Everybody ready? Guys, we're down 2 points to 0, by the way. And we can't be looking for the passage yet. I did not say charge. That's okay. Isaiah 61:1, charge. Now, if you can quote the verse from memory, you can go ahead and do it. Go ahead, Paul.
The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
Okay. Now, if you did not catch all the words that Paul was reading, boys, get 1 point. Yes, I might be a little selective in my seeing. I saw some other hands, but that's what you get to do when you're up here. So, hey, there's some perks. Okay, so what Paul just read was a prophecy by Isaiah. This is the exact passage Jesus is going to read when he has the opportunity in the temple to stand and read before the people. And then he's going to say, this is being performed in front of you right now. You're getting to be eyewitnesses of the fulfillment of this prophecy. Are you ready? Luke chapter 4, verse 18. Attention, draw your swords. Luke chapter 4, verse 18. Luke chapter 4, verse 18. Charge. Only boys can win this one. Miss Jane.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised.
Okay, and then to finish the sentence, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. All right, ladies win 3-1. Good job.
He didn't read it all. Jesus didn't read those texts.
Right.
He didn't read it all. He left off. Declare the day of vengeance.
Ah, very good.
2 points extra credit for that.
Okay, so we'll give the guys. It's sharp. Okay, so why did Jesus come? Did you catch it? To bring good news. But what is the good news people need to understand? Okay, think about it. People are poor. They're bankrupt. Spiritually, they're bankrupt. They have nothing to do to make themselves right with God. They're brokenhearted. Have you ever been brokenhearted over not just the loss of something that you love or somebody that you love? How about broken over your sin? Wow, I have hurt my God. Well, how can I get that made right? You know, if you offend someone, if you truly love that person, you'll go and say, let's work this out. Let's talk about what went wrong. Did I do something? Did I say something that hurt you? I've got a broken heart over this. I love you and I want us to be able to communicate once again. There's a lot of broken hearts this Christmas time. I can only imagine where Eric Ray is staying. There's a lot of people there who never have anyone come visit them. They live on their memories. Many of them with no hope of today, let alone tomorrow. Brokenhearted. Jesus came for them. Jesus came for you. It's good to see Nancy here this morning. Praise God. That's a blessing. The brokenhearted. How about the blind? Those in bondage, those who are bruised. I mean, in every way, emotionally, physically, spiritually, people are broken. And Jesus came to bring healing, restoration to our lives. And it starts with our heart needs, our spiritual needs. You know, the world says, fix this. I see this is wrong with you. I'm going to fix this about you. But only Jesus can do that internal operation. That spiritual work, and that's for which Jesus came. So Jesus came to bring glad tidings. And we know every preacher is to proclaim. Okay, I'll give you one more verse. Romans 10:15. Romans 10:15, charge. First one to find it. This is going to be worth 2 points. Oh, okay, if there's any doubt. Ladies won, hands down. Guys, we got to work on our searching skills. Go ahead, Mrs. K. Amen. Guess what? Jesus came and brought glad tidings. The angels brought glad tidings. Look, the lepers way back. They brought glad tidings and the people were able to get food again, right? The angel brings the message. I've got glad tidings for all people. Jesus comes and says, guess what? The world is broken and hurting. I come to bring glad tidings. I come to bring freedom, to set you at liberty. You can't do this for yourself, but I am the way, the truth, and the life, and the truth shall make you free. We come over to Romans. How beautiful are the feet of them that preach good tidings of peace. Are we heralders? We're going to be carolers in a little bit, but let's be heralders of the gospel. As we go out this afternoon, we're going to be giving out a card that has some church information that has the gospel on the back. On the front, stapled to it, is going to have the candy cane story. I love the candy cane story. And it's got a candy cane with it. So we're going to be giving these gifts to everyone. And let's just remind people, hey, we've got good news for you. And they're going to know you've got good news for them because you're going to approach them with a smile, right? And say, listen, remember Christmas? Do you know why Jesus came? He came for you. Jesus loves you. And that's why we come to bring good news of great joy. Before we conclude this morning, we had a challenge last week. And I want to hear maybe a testimony of some way you're able to spread the Christmas cheer, okay? We were talking about spreading the good news, and maybe there was some unique opportunity God gave you and said, you know, I wasn't even looking for the opportunity, it just happened. And I just want you to think back, how were you able to make a difference in someone's life? Maybe to write a card, make a phone call, make a visit, bake something for someone.